When she joined the team, nothing seemed wrong. But little by little, I began to notice the shift. The glances, the distance, the quiet stories, and somewhere in all of it, I started to disappear. The morning Vale walked into our office, the air shifted. Not in a magical way, in a subtle way, like a door had opened somewhere I could not see yet. My name is Lennox Hale. I am the person people come to when they want things done quietly and correctly. Mid-level analyst, 7 years in the same company, clean record, no drama. I liked it that way. Our floor sat on level 6, open plan, too much glass, too many shared spaces. If you breathed loudly, someone heard it. That morning started like every other. I made my coffee. I checked my emails. I updated the project tracker that no one else touched unless something went wrong. At 9:15, our team lead, Rowan Kidd, stepped into the middle of the room and clapped once. "Everyone, quick moment," he said. "We have someone new joining us." I looked up from my screen. She walked in behind him. Vale. She wore a pale blouse, neat trousers, and an easy smile that looked like it lived on her face. Her eyes moved through the room quickly, taking everything in. Rowan gestured toward her. "This is Mirren," he said. "She will be interning with us for the next 3 months. Data support, shadowing different team members. Make her feel welcome." She gave a small wave. "Hi," she said. "Thank you for having me. I have heard good things about this team." People smiled. Someone made a light joke. Another person mentioned a coffee spot nearby. I watched quietly. "It is what I do. I observe first. I speak later." Rowan pointed across the room. "You will sit over there," he said, "next to Lennox. He will show you the ropes for the first few days." Every head turned toward me. I nodded once. Mirren walked over, that same soft smile still fixed in place. "Lennox," she said, stopping beside my desk, "I have heard your name already. Apparently you are the one who keeps the roof from falling in." It was a harmless line. Still, it rubbed me the wrong way. "Welcome," and I said. "You will have your login soon. Until then, I will walk you through how we do things." She sat down at the empty desk next to mine. She placed a notebook in front of her. No laptop yet, just a pen and that smile. "So," she said, "how long have you worked here?" 7 years, I said. 7, she repeated. "You must be very patient." I shrugged. "I like consistency," I replied. She leaned slightly closer. "And you do not get bored?" she asked. "Same desk, same building, same people." Her tone was light, but her eyes were sharp. "I like knowing where things stand," I said. She smiled again. "Fair enough." Human Resources brought her laptop 30 minutes later. I helped her log in. I showed her our folders, our trackers, our naming system. She learned fast, very fast. Most new people struggle with the tools for a week. Mirren moved through them in a few hours. "That part is clear," she said. "What about the people? Who is who here?" She asked it casually. I still felt a small alarm bell ring somewhere inside. "You will figure it out," I said. "People show you who they are if you give them time." She laughed lightly. "I prefer shortcuts," she said. "But all right, I will watch and learn." The rest of the morning flowed as usual. Emails, numbers, requests from other departments. Every now and then, I noticed her watching someone a little too closely. She listened more than she spoke. Not to learn the job, to learn the people. During lunch, a few colleagues invited her to the break room. "Come, Mirren," one of them said. "You cannot sit here on your first day. It looks sad." She glanced at me. "Aren't you coming?" she asked. "I have some things to finish," I said. "He always says that," someone called out. "He likes spreadsheets more than people." Laughter, light, harmless, except I saw the way Mirren stored that line. She filed it somewhere in her mind. The room emptied. I kept working. It is what I do. Around 1:30, I stood to stretch my legs and refill my water bottle. The corridor outside our section was lined with glass. You could see reflections if you stood at a certain angle. As I walked back toward my desk, I saw it. Not directly. In the glass. Mirren, sitting at her chair, her smile gone, her face blank and cool. She was not looking at her screen. She was looking at my empty chair. There was something steady in her gaze, measuring, calculating. I paused for half a second. then kept walking. By the time I stepped back into the room, her smile had returned. She looked up at me with polite warmth. "There you are," she said. "Rowan came by. He wants us to join the 3 o'clock meeting together." I sat down. "All right," I said. She tilted her head, studying me. "You are very calm, Lennox," she said. "I like that." "I like steady people," she added. I turned to my screen. Inside, that small alarm bell got louder, because I knew something I could not yet prove. People who like steady structures often want to lean on them. People who study them this closely often plan to push. Later that afternoon, as I packed my bag to leave, I heard Mirren at the far end of the office, laughing with someone from another team, and I caught one line drift across the room. "Lennox is nice," she said, "but I think he might be a bit unstable under pressure." The person laughed. I stood still, and I realized her smile had not entered the room by accident. By the second day, Mirren already knew everyone's names. Not just names, birthdays, hometowns, break habits, favorite snacks. Most people were impressed. I was not. Charm that quick always hides intent. I walked into the office early that morning, hoping to start before the usual noise began. Mirren was already there. She sat at her desk with her laptop open, a half-eaten pastry on a napkin beside her. "Oh," she said, looking up with cheerful surprise. "You start early." "I like quiet," I said. "Same," she replied, though I doubted that was true. She stood and stepped toward my desk. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "What is it?" She lowered her voice a little. "Are you seeing anyone right now?" I looked at her for a moment. "That is personal," I said. She smiled as if she expected that answer. "I like to understand the people I work with," she said. "It helps me communicate better." "That is not necessary," I replied. She shrugged lightly. "Suit yourself." She returned to her seat. I sat down and logged in, hoping the conversation was over. It was not. A few minutes later, she leaned closer. "So what was your promotion like?" she asked. "The one you got last year. Some people said it caused tension." I froze. "Who said that?" I asked. She tapped her notebook casually. "Just things I heard yesterday," she said. "Nothing serious." I stared at her. "My promotion was based on performance," I said. "No tension." "Good," she said with a soft smile. "I like to know the truth." There it was again, a small shift in her tone, something that made my skin tighten. By mid-morning, she had drifted from person to person like a quiet breeze, listening more than talking. I heard her laugh with Sarah from procurement. I heard her compliment Jonah's tie. I heard her tell Rowan she was eager to learn from strong leaders. People liked her. They relaxed too easily around her. Around noon, things changed. I stepped into the break room to refill my water bottle. Two colleagues stood near the counter whispering. "He told her he was overwhelmed," one said. "No way," the other replied. "Lennox does not break." I paused just outside the doorway. "Mirren said he snapped at her yesterday," the first one whispered. "She said it scared her." My heart thudded once, hard, heavy. I stepped inside. They froze when they saw me. Conversation ended instantly. I filled my bottle and left without a word. Back at my desk, Mirren typed quietly. When she noticed me return, she gave a warm smile, as if nothing had happened. "How is your day going?" she asked. "Fine," I said. "Mine too," she replied. "People here are so kind." I nodded once, though a knot tightened inside me. Around 2 o'clock, Rowan's message appeared on my screen. "Need to speak briefly? Swing by my desk when you can." I stood and walked over. He looked up with a mixed expression. "Everything all right with the new intern?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Why?" He shifted. "She mentioned you seemed tense yesterday," he said. "Nothing serious. Just checking in." My breath cooled. "I did not seem tense," I said evenly. "And nothing happened." Rowan lifted a shoulder. "All right," he said. "Just wanted to hear your side." I walked back to my desk. Mirren watched me approach. Her smile softened as if she felt sorry for me. "Everything okay?" she asked. I sat down. "Fine," I said. She leaned closer again. "Good," she whispered. "I just want us to work smoothly." I looked at her, really looked at her. Her tone was warm. Her expression was calm. Her posture was relaxed. None of it felt true. That afternoon, as people gathered for a team briefing, I stayed near the back of the room. Mirren slipped in beside Jonah. I watched as she whispered something to him. He turned to look directly at me. His expression held mild confusion, mild disbelief. Then she straightened and smiled sweetly toward the front. Rowan started the meeting. My mind stayed on the whisper. When the briefing ended, I stepped out to the corridor for some air. As I turned back toward my desk, I heard her voice drifting from behind the partition. Soft, concerned, perfectly pitched. "I worry Lennox might be under pressure," she said. "I hope he is okay. He seems fragile." Fragile. The word hit me like a quiet slap. Not angry. Calculated. I took a slow breath. She had been here less than 48 hours, and already she was building something around me. A story, a narrative, a version of me that did not exist. The next morning, I opened my inbox and found a calendar invite from HR. No explanation, just the subject line. Performance discussion request. The cracks in her charm were no longer cracks. They were openings. The morning after the HR invite, the office felt different. Not louder, not quieter, just different. Like the temperature had shifted by one small degree. I logged in and opened my tracker. I wanted something familiar in front of me, something stable. Mirren arrived 10 minutes later with a paper cup in her hand and a bright smile on her face. "Morning, Lennox," she said warmly. "I brought extra coffee. Do you want one?" "No," I said. "Thank you." She placed the extra cup on her own desk. "You look tired," she said softly. "Rough night." I kept my eyes on my screen. "Normal night," I said. She nodded as if she did not believe me. 10 minutes later, she was on the other side of the room laughing with two people from finance. She imitated something awkward someone had said yesterday. Her audience laughed. I caught a small detail. She never mentioned names. She let others fill in the blanks. It was subtle manipulation. People trusted the person who made them laugh. Around 11, Rowan gathered the team in the conference room for our weekly sync. We took our usual seats. Mirren sat close to him this time. As he walked through the project timelines, she kept raising her hand. "I noticed an inconsistency in the reporting template," she said. "I brought it to Lennox's attention yesterday." I looked at her. She had never mentioned the template to me. Not once. Rowan nodded. "Good catch," he said. I let it pass. I had to choose my battles. A few minutes later, she interrupted again. "One small thing," she added. "The client feedback sheet was missing last week's summary. I assume it was a busy period." My jaw tightened. She was right, but she had no reason to know that. Only someone watching my screen too closely would notice. Several colleagues glanced at me. I spoke before Rowan could. "I have the summary," I said calmly. It was waiting for approval. Mirren placed a hand over her chest lightly. "Oh," she said. "I assumed it slipped through since you looked overwhelmed." The room went still for half a second. My voice stayed steady. "I was not overwhelmed," I said. "I did not mean anything by it," she replied. "I just care about our workflow." Rowan cleared his throat. "All right," he said. "Let us move on." But the shift had already happened. Eyes darted toward me with new questions. Small ones. The kind that grow. After the meeting, Mirren walked beside me back to our desks. "You handled that well," she said. "Some people would get defensive." I stopped walking. "I was not defensive," I said. "And the things you said were not accurate." She tilted her head. "I am just trying to help the team," she said gently. "You take things very personally." I stared at her. She smiled. I walked away. Throughout the afternoon, I noticed things I had not seen before. Colleagues lowered their voices when I passed. One person asked if I was managing stress okay. Another asked if I needed help catching up on tasks I had already completed. Mirren moved through the office like soft wind, stirring the air, shifting moods, leaving people with impressions she never stated directly. By 3 o'clock, I felt the weight of her influence. Not loud, not messy, precise. She had been with us for 5 days, and the office already revolved around her presence. Near the end of the day, Rowan called for a small brainstorming session. We gathered in the open space near the windows. As people shared ideas, I noticed Mirren standing behind me, too close, listening to my every word. When I paused to think, she jumped in. I can handle that part, she said quickly. Lennox seemed stretched. Something snapped inside me, though my voice stayed calm. I am not stretched, I said, and I did not ask for help. She gave a soft, pitying look. You do not need to ask, she said. I can see when someone is caring too much. Rowan stepped in to redirect the conversation, but the damage was done. People looked at me with quiet concern, not because of anything I had done, because of the story she was writing around me. When the meeting ended, people dispersed slowly. Mirren lingered near my desk. Just so you know, she said gently, I told Rowan to go easy on you. You seem very tense lately. My chest tightened. You spoke to Rowan about me, I said. Only because I care, she replied. I opened my mouth to respond, but a message popped up on my screen. Reminder, HR meeting tomorrow at 10 noir. Mirren followed my eyes. Oh, she said softly. I hope everything is okay. These meetings can be scary. She walked away before I could speak. I sat there staring at the screen. The office that had felt safe for 7 years now felt unfamiliar, and I understood something I had ignored until then. Mirren had not to learn. She had entered to rearrange it, to rearrange us. As I packed my bag to leave, a coworker brushed past me and murmured under their breath, She told us you raised your voice at her. I froze, and the office changed again. I barely slept that night, not because of the HR meeting, because I finally understood Mirren's strategy. She did not attack directly. She planted impressions. She shaped questions. She made people look at me through a filter she created. By the next morning, her work had already spread. I entered the office and felt eyes slide toward me, then away. Not with hostility, with caution. Caution where none belonged. Someone from another department passed me near the printer. Rough week, he said quietly. Hang in there. Before I could respond, he walked off. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop, pretending the shift did not bother me. Mirren arrived 15 minutes later, cheerful as ever. She placed her bag down and smiled at me with soft sympathy. Morning, Lennox, she said. Hope you are doing better today. Better from what? I asked. She blinked slowly, as if surprised I would question it. Oh, she said. I just meant in general. Everyone has off days. I looked at her closely. She was perfect at appearing innocent, perfect at acting confused, perfect at giving people a reason to believe the lies she never actually spoke. When she turned to greet someone else, I noticed her place a small, sticky note on her monitor. It said, Stay calm around him. My breath caught. It took everything in me not to react. Minutes later, I overheard her speaking softly to two colleagues near the kitchenette. I really hope he does not get in trouble, she said. He is probably just overwhelmed. I tried to support him. They murmured in agreement. No one questioned her. Why would they? She was new, friendly, concerned, and I was the one suddenly surrounded by whispers. Midday approached. Tasks piled up. Mistakes began showing in shared folders. Not minor ones, placed ones. I found a file saved with the wrong labels in my section, even though I had not touched it. Another report appeared with gaps in data I had completed the night before. When I checked the version history, it showed edits made at 11:40 p.m. I slept at that time. Mirren often stayed late. She passed my desk as I reviewed the file, her voice light. Oh, she said, that report looks messy. Do you need help fixing it? It was fine yesterday, I said. She gave a sympathetic smile. Of course it was, she said. You work so hard. Mistakes happen when people are tired. She walked away before I could respond. I opened another document. Same issue. Data removed, columns shifted, timestamp. After midnight, my pulse picked up. She was creating the fault she planned to blame on me. At 2 o'clock, Rowan sent a message. Need you and Mirren in the meeting room at 3 for a quick sync. I walked in at 3 sharp. Mirren was already there, seated comfortably with her notebook open. Rowan looked uneasy. Let us talk about team workflow, he said. I want to make sure we are aligned. Mirren nodded quickly. I agree, she said. Things feel a little unstable right now. I think Lennox might be taking on too much. I looked at her slowly. I am managing my tasks, I said. She folded her hands. I know you want to, she said, but the pressure seems to be showing. Yesterday you seemed on edge. Rowan glanced at me, searching my face for confirmation or denial. I did not seem on edge, I said, steady and clear. Mirren gave a soft sigh. I am not blaming you, she said gently. I just think you need space, that is all. I want the best for our team. It was a perfect sentence, caring, harmless, deadly. Rowan nodded slowly. All right, he said. Let us pay attention to workload distribution. Mirren smiled. I will help wherever I can, she said. I do not want anyone to feel overwhelmed. By the time the meeting ended, I understood her method completely. She infected the environment with concern, not accusation. She framed me as fragile, not incompetent. People defend incompetence. They tiptoe around fragility. It was smarter, cleaner, harder to fight. After the meeting, I stepped into the corridor to breathe. My hands were steady. My voice was steady. My thoughts were steady. But everything around me was shifting. As I leaned against the railing, a colleague approached me hesitantly. I should tell you something, she whispered. Mirren said you raised your voice at her again. Yesterday, near the stairs. I stared at her. I never raised my voice, I said. I know, she whispered, but she said she felt unsafe. I closed my eyes. This was not a misunderstanding. It was a design. When I returned to my desk, an email notification flashed at the top of my screen. HR, reminder. Meeting tomorrow at 10. Please prepare any relevant documentation. And Mirren, sitting beside me, smiled softly without looking up. The morning of the HR meeting, I arrived at the office earlier than usual. I wanted silence around me. I wanted clarity. But Mirren was already there. She sat at her desk with her jacket draped neatly on the chair and her laptop open. She looked up the moment I walked in. Lennox, she said softly, you look pale. Did you sleep at all? I am fine, I said. She studied me with concern that felt rehearsed. I know today must feel stressful, she said. I hope the meeting goes well for you. For me, I repeated, not for us. For me. She blinked slowly. I just meant I care about how things turn out, she said. Then she turned back to her laptop with a small, understanding smile. I sat down, opened my emails, tried to focus, failed. At 9:45, I walked toward the HR wing. My steps felt solid. My mind felt sharp. As I reached the hallway outside the meeting room, I saw something I did not expect. Mirren. She walked out of the HR office with a tissue in her hand. Her eyes looked slightly red. Her breathing looked controlled and shaky at the same time. She stopped when she saw me. Lennox, she whispered, I did not want you to see me like this. What happened? I asked. It is nothing, she said. I just told them everything. I had to. They asked. Her voice trembled with perfect fragility. My pulse tightened. You went in before me, I said. She nodded. They wanted my account, she said softly. I told them I never wanted trouble. I told them you probably did not mean to scare me. My jaw clenched. You told them I scared you, I said. I did not say you yelled, she replied. I only said you raised your voice near me. They asked if I felt unsafe. I said I was not sure. I stared at her. You know that never happened, I said. She looked down. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, she whispered, but they needed the truth from my side. She placed a hand gently on my arm. I hope you do not think I want anything bad for you, she said. I stepped back. Her hand fell. She gave a small, sad smile and walked away. My meeting began at 10. Two HR officers sat across from me. Their expressions were formal and careful. We want to make sure you feel supported, one of them said. We also need to clarify a few concerns. Concerns, plural. They asked about my interactions with Mirren. They asked about my workload. They asked if I had felt emotionally strained. They asked if I had raised my voice at any time. I answered clearly. No, I said. I did not yell. I did not snap. I did not behave aggressively. They nodded. Then they showed me a printed statement, Mirren's handwriting. It described moments where she felt tension, where she felt spoken to sharply, where she sensed instability. Not one moment was real, not one line was true, but they were written slowly and elegantly, like someone who had practiced telling stories. When the meeting ended, HR said they would review everything, and follow up. As I left the room, I saw her again. Mirren waited near the elevator, arms folded lightly, smile soft. "How did it go?" she asked. "Why did you lie?" I said. She lifted her brows. "I did not lie," she said. "I shared my feelings. Feelings cannot be wrong." "You created this," I said. She laughed quietly, almost pitying. "You create your own storms, Lennox," she said. "I only report the weather." The elevator arrived. She stepped in and pressed the button. Before the doors closed, she said, "I hope you find peace. I really do." I stood in the hallway long after she disappeared. Something in me settled. Not fear, not confusion, clarity. She wanted chaos, and she wanted me to carry the blame for it. When I returned to my desk, she greeted me with a soft smile, as if nothing had happened. "Welcome back," she said. "I hope you are not too upset." I did not respond. Inside, something shifted. I had been trying to stay calm, trying to stay steady, trying to stay diplomatic. Now I understood the truth. Mirren was not guessing. She was constructing, piece by piece, word by word, lie by lie. Later that afternoon, a coworker slipped me a small folded note as she walked past. I opened it under my desk. "Check corridor camera yesterday, 4:23 p.m. My breath stilled. Someone had seen something, and someone wanted me to know. Thank you for staying with me this far, because this is where everything changes. They tried to rewrite who I was, and for a while, the lies almost worked. But somewhere in the shadows, someone saw the truth. Part 2 drops in 24 hours. So subscribe, turn on notifications, so you don't miss what I discover next.